to refinance. To add them to the title is a simpler thing. You can do that with what's called a quitclaim deed. That's something you can do yourself, or you can employ the services of a title company. We use one of our sponsors, All Florida Title, at allfloridatitle.com. They can help you with that, advise you on making sure you get that done right. The main thing you don't want to do is do the paperwork wrong on your what you call quitclaim deed. And I've seen it before where we get deeds and they were done wrong by people that did them independently in the past. You just want to get that little bit of advice. They might charge you a little fee, but it's not a lot. It might be $100, $150, which is well worth it to make sure you're filling out that paperwork properly. And then that gets recorded at the county, and then it's done. That deed is recorded and it's now in both names.
My home is paid for free and clear, but my credit isn't that good. I would like to buy another home and keep the one I got. How can I do this?
Well, it just depends on where the credit score is. We had credit scores had gone up quite a bit where you needed a 660 or 680 to be even able to do a loan. In order to do a loan, you're going to need to be now FHA loans are at 600 score. And so that's pretty flexible. A lot of times if you're not at 600, we can take a look at your credit and tell you what you need to do to get to 600. If that involves paying off some debt or what have you, you may be able to take some money out of your current property that's free and clear and look at doing that. I would say really the first part of that is I'd need to know, I need a little more definition when you say credit not good, what's going on there. And
maybe that's something they can address too.
Yeah. From there, we might be able to help you in a few simple steps, correct that. We've got this software that's part of our credit, the company that we pull credit from, that is called a what if simulator. Basically, we can go in there and see what it would take to get your score up by 20 points or 40 points or 60 points. And it might be something that happens in 3 days, or it might be something that happens over the course of 6 months. So we can take a look at that for you as well. I don't charge for that. We're not like a credit repair agency or anything like that. We're not one of those people that are going to put you on, monthly retainer and try and raise your credit score. We'll just give you some advice on what we see.
Just so you know, the Flats fisherman checked in to tell us the name is Flats is not his name. It is what he does. He fishes the flats.
Understood.
Okay.
Well, way to rub it in, MJ.
I have a question about rent. And this is something that's actually a real question that we got, but MJ, me also have been hearing a lot about rents going up in a crazy way. But this person says, I have a question about rent. I heard that most apartment complexes will allow you to negotiate the rent at the time of lease renewal. Is that true or is that a myth? And I feel like I know the answer to this because I've been hearing from a lot of people in town that they've just been getting notices when their leases are coming up that their rent is going up substantially, 26%, 16%, 22%, like a lot.
Yeah, there was a survey.
So I think maybe this is not the time that happens.
There was a Florida survey done I'd say about a month ago. We talked about it on air, where the average increase in Florida was around 15%, with some areas up over 20%. I know someone personally that, I saw them talking about this online, and they were saying their current rent was around, I'm not going to get the numbers exactly right, but around $1,540 a month. And they also showed their notice online of their new rent, what it was proposed to be, and it was over $2,200. So they were getting close to a $700 increase if they wanted to keep leasing.
And there's lots of that
where they are.
Yep.
You know why a landlord or a lender or an apartment complex or whatever can do that? Because there's enough demand.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's people standing there waiting to rent it for $2,200 if you don't. So you could try and negotiate,
right.
Sometimes they might negotiate with you for a longer lease. Like if you say, hey, what if I do a 2-year lease? They may give you a break on it.
I've been hearing a lot about that happening in the commercial world, where because there's a glut of commercial space, obviously, because of COVID, a lot of things shifted. So a lot of people who were considering moving out of their office are able to negotiate because the landlord would like to keep someone there.
Absolutely. Commercial's a different story because so many businesses went virtual and employees moved home, and now a lot of companies have realized, we like this, or this works just as good. This
works,
we don't have to pay the rent on that place we were.
We don't have to put up with Kevin, or whoever the annoying person in the office is. You don't have to.
We're not talking about you, Kevin.
No. Sorry, just a Serendipitous choice of name. Yeah, we'd have to put up with Kyle. Oh no, here's Kyle. Kyle's working in Palm Bay today.
Well done, MJ. It's just MJ's gonna rip everybody now.
Oh my. Anyway, you know
That's
what
she
I mean.
does.
Yeah, they decide that they don't want to be in Office anymore.
But yeah,
for all the reasons that made The Office a great show.
It's one of those situations where I don't think you have a lot of negotiating power right now because there is more demand than there is supply. And that's why rents are going up. If landlords raise their rent and then all of a sudden half the apartments are empty, guess what they would do?
Right.
They'd lower the rent to get people in there. So that's the issue, is that there's a shortage of good quality places to live, and the landlords are able to raise the rent. It's an ongoing problem, but frankly, I was my friend that was now going to pay $2,200 a month for rent.
Like, what kind of a house payment is that? I mean,
that's like a $250,000 house, maybe even $300,000 house, depending on the taxes and insurance. So he's living in a 800 square foot, one bedroom apartment for that amount of money. You could buy a house and have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 4-bedroom,
get a roommate, pay half that payment.
You can do that.
Bank the rest, and when you're ready, kick that roommate to the curb, and you got a big old house. Just you.
And I know it's not as easy as that. You got to have down payment money, but there is down payment assistance. There are other programs that can help you with that. So, but yeah, I think that's what you need to do to stick it to the landlord is go buy a house. Then then
you're the landlord,
right? Exactly.
Then you can tell your tenant, "I'm raising your rent."
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more of your questions.
You're listening to Home Loans Radio on Real Radio. Now back to the show with that mortgage guy, Don.
You are listening to Home Loans Radio with that mortgage guy, Don, where he tells us everything we need to know and never thought we needed to know and never even thought about mortgages. And we're better for it. Thank you, Don.
All right, we're here. We're back. We're doing this thing we do every single weekend morning. It is a live show. You can text in to 77031, or you want more info about all this, you can go to homeloansradio.com. You can do all kinds of things there, right, MJ?
Ooh, can you?
What else can you do there? I'll call on Fritz instead.
Well, you can, leave us a shout out. You can also look at all of these PDF of documentation and information that if you have a question, well, that might explain it for you. You can also talk to Don at any time. Just go there and just say, "Hey, Don."
Oh, I know.
Go ahead, MJ.
You can listen to the podcast.
Oh, you can do that too. Yeah.
They're all there for your listening pleasure.
They're in the form of podcasts, but what they are is actually all the live shows that we do on the weekends get put up there as podcasts. So yeah, you can go back and listen to hundreds, more than 100 shows. Probably a couple hundred hours of content there. So
millions of hours.
It'll feel like millions of hours.
Oh, I get people all the time that tell me they love it.
It's true.
If I don't post them promptly, I get messages from people all over the place. Where's the podcast? Why haven't you got the podcast up?
Wow.
I'm throwing them out of their rhythm. Like they listen to the podcast when they do blah, 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 or such and such.
Gosh.
So yeah, we were happy to do it and lucky to do it, and it helps. There's a lot of stuff on the website there for first-time home buyers, and you can check that out. There's videos, there's guides, there's calculators. You want to figure out what you can save by doing a refinance, or you just want to ask a question offline from the show. Right now, you can text it into 77031, and we will answer it. But you can also send questions there that come to my email. I answer every single one of those. Last week, we got a record number. I stopped counting at about 200 questions. But
wow.
I answered them all.
Good job.
Oh, yeah, that's what I do. And you too can ask questions there. Or if you just want to get pre-approved to buy a home or to refinance, you can do it there at homeloansradio.com. Let's answer some of those questions.
Oh, a lot of questions rolling through now. People are waking up.
That's right. Can Don expand on loans on land, which you did a little bit already, but we're looking to build on it and eventually live on it. In general, can you get loans on lands? We don't want to spend all of our savings on the land.
Yeah, you can get land loans. They kind of got backed off a good bit during COVID. A lot of the banks stopped doing as many, but I've heard there's a couple banks. You're going to be better off trying to find a bank that's local to your area, like a credit union or a bank. A lot of times they're better at the land loans. I don't have any strictly land loans available right now, but I have talked to clients that have gotten them through a couple banks here locally. Reach me offline and I'll tell you who those are. or hit me up at homeloansradio.com chat, and I'll give you a couple leads on where to look for that. But essentially, you're going to find that on land, you got to put down a big down payment. Usually it's 50% with the ones that I know of that are doing land loans right now. So if it's $100,000 lot, you're going to have to come up with 50 and borrow 50. And that's, for some people, that's prohibitive. But you can also look at taking it out of the equity of your current home if you've got a home for that. If you've got a home where you have some equity, you could do a cash out loan or a home equity line of credit and use that to buy the land. And then later you would want to do what's called a construction to perm loan, where you borrow the funds to build on the house. And they use the equity that you have. So like if you bought $100,000 piece of land and put down 50, well, you've got 50 in equity. That 50 in equity counts towards the down payment of your home. So you don't have to come back and do another down payment. You're just doing the one on the land, not a second one.
Jay is looking to buy a house, hopefully in a year. Currently working on his credit and saving up for a down payment, closing costs, etc.
Good for you, Jay.
His fiance and he would be first-time home buyers. Do you have any advice of how much to save up? They make about $90K combined.
It really depends on, if you're making that kind of money, you should be able to put some aside, I think, on a monthly basis. And so the amount you put down, there's kind of like a minimum, like you must be this tall to ride this ride. There's kind of a minimum amount of money you would need in order to do a transaction. But if you have more money, you get a better deal. You get, so we've talked about the basics of a mortgage payment being the principal and interest. This is what you pay every month. But that payment, let's say it's $1,500. It's made up of several parts. It's going to be your principal that you're paying on your loan, the interest on the loan, 1/12 of your taxes, because taxes are due once a year. So you put 1/12 of that into an account every month. That way, when you get to the end of the year and your tax bill is, say, $2,000, it's all in there. And also 1/12 of your insurance goes in with your monthly payment. If you put down less than 20% when you buy that house, then you're going to also have something in there called PMI, which can be $100 or $200 a month as well. So like the minimum you're going to get by with, if it's there are 100% financing for VA and for USDA, which is a more rural loan out away from the main cities. But for a typical loan is going to be your Fannie Mae or your Freddie Mac or your FHA loan. And the minimum down payments are around 3 to 3.5% on that. So you take a $200,000 house, 3%, 3.5% is going to be about $7,000. And then your closing costs are going to be another 2% to 2.5%. So you could get into a $200,000 home for around $13,000 or $14,000 saved. But if you put down 20% on that home, which is $40,000 plus your closing costs, so if you had $47,000, you're going to have a much lower payment. You're going to have a lower interest rate and you're not going to have any PMI. So it really depends on you. 90% of the first time home buyers that I work with don't put down the 20% unless they're getting a gift from a family member. It's hard to save up that amount of money while you're renting and while you're working and doing all that.
Sure.
So I would say the biggest first time home buyer loan that we see is the FHA one. And so you can figure out about 5.5% of whatever the purchase price would be what you need to save. So let's say a $300,000 house, you probably need $16,000, $17,000 to get into that on the minimum side.
Here, Andre from New York City is out by
New York City.
He says, "Good morning, y'all." That's not what people from New York City usually say.
Yeah, you don't know that.
That's right. It's true. He's out there by the river in Vero Beach. Sounds like a good day. Also, Kyle is working in Palm Bay. Thanks, everybody.
You talked about Kyle earlier.
I know. I didn't. It wasn't you, Kyle. It wasn't you. Not you. Here's someone. This makes me happy. He said, or they said, this show makes me want to buy a home. Never thought it was possible for me, but I think I can do it.
Oh,
wow, that's amazing.
Yes, you can.
It's one of the reasons I really like working with first-time home buyers. I've been doing this, a couple decades now, and I get the most job well done kind of feeling from working with people that are first-time home buyers and say things like that. And I get a lot of brokers and a lot of lenders are not really going to give you a lot of time.
Also realtors.
Yeah. And that could be true of some realtors, although I have some that will and do work with first-time home buyers because I need them, because I work with a lot of first-time home buyers.
Right.
A lot of them, they don't, they'd rather get that guy who's buying a $400,000 house, a $500,000 house. It takes extra time, extra explanation to work with a first-time home buyer. I love it and I enjoy doing it. And if you want to work on getting pre-approved with us, you go to homeloansradio.com. You hit the button that says apply now. You put in your info, and then we will come back and tell you exactly what you need to do to be ready to buy a house and tell you when you're going to be ready if you accomplish these steps. You may already be ready. We don't know. That may be the answer. We're going to take a quick break, come back at the top of the hour, and we've got another half hour to go after that.
Hey, it's Sabrina from the News Junkie. Do you have a question for that